Good morning, my brothers and sisters on the Dharma path. It's another week of Dharma tributaries. This week I'm concentrating on Jospeh Campbell and his mythological insights. But prior to doing that, I want to share some poetry with you, which I will include in the recording. It's called A Pilgrimage to a Person. When you're not with close friends, you're not in the presence. It's sad to leave the people you travel with. How much more so those who remind you of God. On every trip, have only one objective: to meet those who are friends inside the presence. If you stay home, keep the same purpose: to meet the innermost presence as it lives in people. Be a pilgrim to the Kaaba inside a human being, and Mecca will rise into view on its own. Now, I'm also interested in utilizing the awareness of the power of positive thinking, which is basically like cause and effect. It's just like karma. Your thought is the cause, and the conditions in your life are the effect. Most people try to change the conditions instead of trying to change their thoughts. But the cause is the way you're using your conscious mind. And so the conscious mind is the watchdog at the gate. It's the navigator. It directs, it signals, it gives orders. And your subconscious mind, you could say, is like the crew in the boiler room, in the engine room. They just follow orders. They obey. They don't rebel because automatically they know the conscious mind is in control. So what is it that you're setting out for yourself to do in your mind? What are the intentions? Because your subconscious is going to take you at your word, especially that which you repeatedly say. So that means you got to mentally identify yourself with it, fill yourself with the expectation of it, and then release the whole thing to your deeper mind, which has the know-how of accomplishment. And that's what leads you to affirmation, which I will say one at the end of this whole riff, because when you're doing this, you are what I call a leading edge creator. So what does mythology do? One aspect of mythology is it introduces you to the edge of what can be known. And that's why the first aspect of mythology is the mystery, right? One of the fourfold explanations that Jospeh Campbell uses is for a living mythology to be living, it has to have a mythological, cosmological, sociological, and pedagogical function. And so the mythological function first is to put you in touch with the mystery. How can you live with a knowledge of the mystery and still have zest for life? Because there's so much that makes no sense. It's not fair, even absurd. You can look at our species as being one filled with a certain kind of corruption and malfeasance, side by the genius and unbelievable compassion that we have. So how do you have zest for life, passion for existence, knowing that there's a mystery at the heart, a deep, superessential darkness, an abyss, deep at the core, nothingness, something we can't even name or know about, beyond our comprehension. But yet, in the process of the maturation of an individual, which takes you through early years of dependency, growth, adulthood, maturity, and then exit, you got to find out what's ticking in you. What's going to straighten you out with the inevitables? What's going to put you in accord with nature so that if you're playing the game, what can ease your anxiety? Because a lot of times people think nature has fallen in that Christian sinful sense, and you don't want to put yourself in accord with nature. You want to correct nature. And of course, I think that's a mistake. So how do you find this place of rest and quiet within you? Well, the next thing is the cosmological. It tries to give you a big picture. It's the up-to-date Genesis story. How did we get here? Where is here all about? Mysterious in a certain way. I always think it's really funny to see that picture of Earth as a little part of the Milky Way galaxy, and the Milky Way galaxy is a part of this huge amount of galaxies throughout the cosmos. Does that really help to locate where we are? Anyway, find the place of rest inside yourself. That's the center from which you act. Your cosmology teaches you because it teaches you the order. It brings chaos. It brings order out of chaos. And then we can bandy about terms like nirvana or freedom or enlightenment. But for me, it represents not being compelled by desire, fear, or social obligation. You're going to have desire, you're going to have fear, you're going to have social obligation, but you don't have to be compelled by them. And if you have a cosmological perspective, everything fits into a bigger picture, even though beyond that is the mystery. Then comes the sociological teaching. The sociological teaching is the one where your own society trains you, conditions you to tell you what you should be, how you should be, when you should be there, who you should hang out with, and so forth. But if you don't listen to the demands of your own center, if you deny that it actually happens to you, meaning that spirit comes to you in your life, you'll never live the life of a maverick beyond the boundaries. You'll always be clamped down, strapped in, held back. The only way you can do that is you got to put yourself in situations that evoke your higher nature, not your lower nature. Then something will be drawn out of you, and sociologically, you'll go beyond the conditioning and still be able to give back to your society, your family, your clan. So that means you have to learn to give yourself over to something bigger than yourself. Right? When you study mythology, it's a big picture. You're really tuning into the way it is all over. So that means you have to lose some kind of self-protection. You have to risk, right? Go out on the edge, right? Pick the fruit that's at the edge of the limb. So Jospeh Campbell also calls this following your bliss, being willing to listen to the dictates of your heart. And you do that after you've also learned the pedagogical teachings. What are the individual yamas and niyamas, we could say the ethics like in yoga, that's going to help you handle the vicissitudes of life? What's going to give you wisdom? There's going to be temptations after realizations. Remember, the Jewish people heard the teaching at Sinai, and they were worshiping the golden calf 6 weeks later. So there's a moral burden that's put upon each one of us if we have any kind of revelation. This is another way of saying that mythology also helps you confront the dark sides. We could call it the shadow, but I don't mean the Freddy Krueger scary shadow. I mean the things that are denied, repressed, held back, dimly seen. So you can't always have people telling you what to do. You have to figure some of these things out for yourself, and you only do that by confronting these things. But if you're following your bliss, doors will open for you where no doors were there for other people. Otherwise, you live in the wasteland doing what you've been told you should do and never really plumbing the depths of your own creativity and innovation. Now, I love this one remembrance from somebody talking to D.T. Suzuki, one of the early Zen teachers from Japan. He would say, oh, Western religion, very, very funny. Man against nature, nature against man, man against man, man against spirit, spirit against man, spirit against nature. So they asked him, well, what is your mythology? What's your ideology? What's your theology? He says, we don't have any theology. We just dance. So all of mythology to me, after you understand its mythological, cosmological, sociological, and pedagogical functions, is to get you to dance. And of course, dance doesn't literally mean getting up and shaking your booty, whether it's rock and roll or cha-cha or country slide. That's the external way of dancing. And I certainly say keep dancing. But your dance is your life. It's called a lila in yoga, the way you kind of surf through it all. See that picture of Shiva Nataraj dancing with the flames of eternity all around him. But he's also kind of grooving through the whole thing. So what I would suggest is for you to groove is to being a leading edge creator. And here's my affirmation for that. You can find it on my website. I'm a leading edge creator. I let the well-being in that is natural to me. I'm aligned with spirit. Whatever I request, I expect to receive. I willingly accept what I get all along the way. My words ooze radiance, harmony with life. I reach for that which feels better, and my behavior demonstrates my connection with living spirit. I hope that satisfies you for the day. We'll be back tomorrow with another riff on Jospeh Campbell and his power of myth. And remember to go to GabrielHalpern.com and sign up for my website. There's a lot of free pickings there, and also on my YouTube channel. Feel free, cherry pick everything, and Join me this week on Wednesday. I'm doing a three-part series called The Hero Journey. You can check it out on my website, my Facebook page. I hope I see you there for the next 3 weeks. Peace. I'll check in again tomorrow.